Don't forget Anthony Sears, who died at the defendant's hands.
Solemnly swear all testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Please be seated, sir. And then would you state your name, spelling your last name, please?
Jeffrey Connor, C-O-N-N-O-R.
Mr. Connor, you were a friend of Anthony Sears, correct?
Yes.
How long had you known him before he was killed?
Approximately 3 years.
You were friends?
Yes.
In fact, you were with Anthony Sears on the night he went home with Mr. Dahmer, weren't you?
Yes.
Let me draw your attention to Saturday night, March 25th, 1989. Did there come a time when you met with Mr. Sears that evening?
Yes, I did.
About when was that?
It was probably around 10 or 10:30 at his apartment.
Okay. Did you then go someplace together?
Yes, we had gone out.
Where'd you go out to?
We went to Lacage.
Lacage. What is Lacage?
Lacage is a gay bar in Milwaukee.
Where's it located?
On 2nd National.
And how did you get there?
We took my car.
On that evening, did you come in contact with a person now known to you as Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yes, I did. I met him just prior to closing, which would be about 2 o'clock, 2:15.
When the bar closed, what happened?
We had gone outside.
Who's we?
Tony, Jeffrey Dahmer, myself, and another friend of mine.
Who's that friend?
Bob Keel.
Okay. And what did you do?
We had then gone to my car. Everybody had gotten in. Jeffrey Dahmer and Tony were in the back seat.
And then where did you go?
Then we left that area to drop off Tony and Mr. Dahmer.
Did somebody tell you that they were going home together?
I just kind of took that.
Okay. Where were they going to go? Were they going to go to Tony's place or Mr. Dahmer's place?
Mr. Dahmer's place.
Okay. And did Mr. Dahmer tell you how to get there?
Yes, he did.
When you pulled over, did you have any discussion at that point?
No.
Okay. Did you talk to Mr. Sears at all, make plans with him about his being picked up?
Yes, I did.
What was that about?
I had just reminded him that that Sunday was Easter and that I had plans to be with my family, and that in order for me to give him a ride home, I'd have to pick him up before I did that, which would be early morning sometime, and to call me.
And did he agree to do that?
Yes, he did.
Did Anthony Sears ever call you that evening?
No, he did not.
Early the next morning?
No.
Did you ever see Anthony Sears again?
No, I did not.
He stated he met this individual that he identified as Anthony Sears through the photo, and he got one of Mr. Sears' friends to drive him and Mr. Sears in the friend's auto to his grandmother's house. He related that when they got there, they engaged in sex. He gave him the drink that put him to sleep and subsequently killed him and dismembered the body. He indicated that this was the first one where he had kept anything of the individuals. He stated that he kept the victim's skull, which he boiled to remove all the skin, and he kept the scalp with the small ponytail because he liked it. He stated he kept the genitals of this person. He stated that at the time of his arrest, these items were in the black metal cabinet.
Quote, I found him very exceptionally attractive, and the desire to retain something from him was stronger than the fear of being caught, I guess. That was about the time I had the table, the black table and the two griffins, and that's when I started formulating the idea of the temple area off of this. Mr. Dahmer drew for me a diagram of what he had in mind for the temple, and that diagram of the temple shows 10 skulls on a table with incense burning on both ends and 2 whole skeletons on either end of the black table with the plaster griffins above the table and a special globe lamp to impart an eerie sense of lighting. And he wanted a black leather chair so that he could sit in the leather chair and admire his collection. If he did this and had it set up this way, he would be able to somehow get in touch with some spiritual force or power. It's the time I started watching Return of the Jedi. So the first idea of the temple area occurs only after 3 of the charged killings. And because this seemed curious, I explored what he had in mind about the temple and what the significance of this movie was to him in great depth. And in fact, he and I sat together and watched all of the scenes in the film Return of the Jedi that he considered significant. Likewise, there came a time later when he put that film aside and began making use of Exorcist III and particular scenes from that in a similar manner. And he and I sat together and watched those scenes from Exorcist III so that I could explore what the significance was to him of the images in those materials. And I think that what emerges from all of that is an understanding that Mr. Dahmer regarded one character in each of those films, a character known as the Emperor in Return of the Jedi, and the character who's obviously supposed to be Satan in Exorcist III, a man who's confined in a cell-like area at that time. And what these characters have in common is that they are evil and corrupt and powerful, and both have the ability to use special powers to control others. In the case of the Emperor, he seems to be zapping people with energy beams of some kind and able to manipulate them in that way because it's futuristic. In the Exorcist III, the power comes from being able to create illusions to make people think that there are snakes crawling over them, to suspend people on the ceiling, to be able to do all manner of things. Each of the characters in the scenes that he repeatedly viewed actually torments someone else in a way that might be described as torture. But Mr. Dahmer said that was not what was appealing to him, though there were occasionally fantasies where that might be, that he never enacted that. And he's consistently told me that making others suffer was not his desire sexually, but that he did identify with the power of these characters. The characters are unattractive ones in both those scenes, and not ones that one would expect most people to want to identify with, but he liked the idea of the power that they had. And it happens that both those characters are portrayed in the films with yellow eyes that give them an eerie look. And Mr. Dahmer even went to the extent of buying a pair of contact lenses with that yellow tint that he would wear when he would go to the clubs so that he could have more of that look. His dabbling with these films and using them wasn't just ordinary curiosity. It's something a little more than that, in that he wanted to be more like those people. And he describes some sense of using the films to get himself in the proper mood to go out and cruise for a victim. And sometimes he would bring the victim home and watch a portion of a film with them and direct their attention to those scenes too. And so it did play some part in setting the right mood for him for committing these crimes. And he explained that he identified with the characters because he felt that he was thoroughly evil and corrupt, just as those two characters were.